Yeah, it's the Weege Show, Nerding Out edition. Got my glasses on because I'm headed to the airport. I'll be switching to West Coast time by sleeping on my flight to San Francisco for this weekend's Oakland Supercross, round 2, Monster Energy AMA Supercross. Also, I'm driving the family minivan because the snowpocalypse apparently is headed our way this weekend in North Carolina, so I'm leaving my four-wheel drive vehicle, which is the Honda Ridgeline, behind for the wife to drive. Knock it if you want, but the Ridgeline is such a great vehicle. My wife loves to drive it, and because of that, I get to drive the family minivan. Not sure that's working out in my favor. Okay, but look, it is a newer, shinier toy. It's got a lot of great technology, the Ridgeline, more so than my van, and we're always drawn to that shiny new toy with all the latest technology, right? Like, for example, the Honda CRF 250R, which presents our Weege Show here. It is lighter, faster, stronger than the previous edition of the motorcycle, and probably the biggest improvement is the engine package. More low end, more rideable. You don't have to rev it as much to produce power. The bike is already looking good on bike stands, in photos, in your Honda dealership, and in the capable hands of Hunter Lawrence, who put together a great ride to finish third through the pack at Anaheim 1. I'm not even going to mention Hunter's brother Jet because he's going to get mentioned plenty throughout the year. Hunter rode very well. And again, check out the all-new CRF 250R at your Honda dealer, or check out a Ridgeline at a different Honda dealer, the one that has cars. So the shiny new toy, right? Let's keep it on the Hondas. We had all this thought about shiny new toys coming into the season. My man Mitch Kendra at RacerX Online had uncovered this stat that in the last 3 seasons, Eli Tomac, Ken Roczen, and Cooper Webb had won 84% of the races. They are the established group of Supercross. So our big theme coming into the year, could the newcomers like Chase Sexton or Adam Cianciarulo or the 450 motocross champion Dylan Ferrandis or Malcolm Stewart and Aaron Plessinger, who are switching bike brands, can these newcomers take a step up and start taking wins away from the established group of Roczen, Webb, and Tomac? Well, here's the stats so far in 2022. That big three has won 100% of the races because Roczen won on Saturday night. And how about the fact that Cooper Webb was second and Justin Barcia, again, one of the established previous race winners, he's won more races than anyone else the last couple of years. He finished third. And then the rider who's won the most races beyond that the last couple of years is Marvin Musquin. He finished fourth. How about that for the establishment? We're so pumped on these shiny new toys. And that's not to say that they're not capable of having breakthroughs this weekend. But how about the fact that Sexton ended up having 2 crashes? Now, I think we might have slept on Roczen a little bit coming into this season. And I'm not putting this out there as the world was against him, everyone doubted him, he showed the haters and the naysayers. And I'm also not saying that Roczen is the odds-on favorite to win this title. Don't come at me with this Weege Show on your phone in mid-April when we're in Atlanta if Roczen's out the points later and be like, you said after Anaheim 1 that he was going to win the title. I'm not saying that. What I am saying with fairly good conviction is that we probably were not thinking enough about Roczen coming into the year. And if you think about it, it's partially because of those shiny new toys like Sexton and Cianciarulo and Ferrandis and the rest. It's partially because Eli Tomac is one of the established group, but he has a shiny new toy as well. He's on a Yamaha. And we know Cooper Webb is absolutely in his prime. So those guys are getting the attention. There is a bit of Ken Roczen fatigue out there. We've gone into so many seasons thinking he was the favorite, or was this maybe his year? And then he does really well at the opener. He's won it 4 times now. He's held the points lead. Last year he didn't win the opener, but he finished second and he quickly took the points lead and won a whole bunch of races at Indianapolis. And it again looked like it was going to be his season. We've seen him start series after series strong and come in with hype and in the end not get the title. So I think there's a little bit of, I don't even want to think or talk about Kenny's prospects anymore. I've seen that it doesn't work out. Let me just focus on someone else, and maybe when they get in this position, they'll get it done. So I think that's why there's a lot more attention on the shiny new toys and the new riders on new bikes, or the established champ, or the young riders on the rise. And there's still reason to believe in them, but it is amazing how the race worked out, that we knew the whole situation with Chase Sexton was he's definitely fast enough. He, even by his own admission, said the problem is late in the races, these tracks get brutal, they get rough, and he's trying to figure out bike setup, the proper riding technique, and really the strategy for the second half of these main events, and especially the last couple minutes. And damn it all, if that's not when it started to come unglued for him. He looked like the best guy in the first half, and he crashed. And he not only crashed, but he did it, I think, because the track was rough. If you see where he went down, the bumps leading into this left-hand corner, they were big braking bumps for a Supercross track, probably hard to replicate at the test track and practicing throughout the off-season. So Sexton is still learning. Again, not to say that the talent wasn't on full display. Sexton made a move on Cianciarulo, who we'll talk about in a moment, for second. Now, Cianciarulo was ailing. You knew he was going to make the pass, but it was still impressive what Sexton was able to do. I saw he was really good in those corners around the starting line, those flat turns, and at one point he really dug his spurs in like a horse jockey and dug into the pegs to try to make that Honda hook up and make the pass on Cianciarulo when he had a little bit of an opening. When you talk to the riders and they study the dartfish and the qualifying times and all these things, Sexton's speed and Roczen's often comes from these areas that you don't expect. It's not the mega scrub, it's not the big quad leap. It's these little things they do, how they'll hop a bump before a rhythm section to get perfect backside. Roczen's strength, a lot of the riders will tell you, it is the least sexy thing that you can be good at on a dirt bike, which is his speed in between being on the brakes and on the gas, the roll speed. No one is putting a poster on their wall saying, dude, look how sick Kenny looks when he's not on the gas and not on the brakes and not jumping, he's in a corner, he's rolling. But it gets the job done. And maybe that's another way that we slept on Roczen as well. When you have an established group, and Roczen's not old, he's 27, but he's been in the class since 2014, you just tend to think that the next wave of riders or the next wave of athletes in any sport is going to have like this next level technique or ability, and the old guys are going to have a tough time matching that. But when you watch Roczen ride, there's nothing second rate or previous gen about the riding at all. He is still amazing with the things he can do on a motorcycle. He still can do things no one else can do. He still does things textbook picture perfect. He can still blow your mind. I was standing close to the track during press day on Friday in Anaheim, and you could barely hear Roczen go through this rhythm lane. You're expecting to hear rop, rop, rop. From most riders, you do. Roczen, you would think, speaking of your Honda dealer, is on the L model of the CRF 450, the dual sport. His bike is quiet because he doesn't rev it. He's never hard on the gas. I've even heard insiders say that he wants a little less power, a little less hit to his engine package than a lot of other riders want. He's still able to do those jumps. It doesn't look aggressive, but he has perfect backside, perfect timing. He makes it look easy. And I think just because we've seen it so many times, we don't maybe put Roczen in that, man, it's unbelievable to see what he can do in a motorcycle category anymore because we've said it 1,000 times, but it's still there. But it's usually there at the beginning of the year. It's not always there all year long. Certainly the jury is out, and certainly the young riders can still get it done. Not only did Sexton definitely ride well enough to win the race had he not crashed, how about Cianciarulo? Came into the race with the 3rd degree AC separation. Yeah, AC separated his AC joint. It didn't look good going into the season when he said in the preseason press conference, I'm just going to have to rely on my starts and then hope that the level of those guys around me can pull me up. That doesn't sound encouraging, but damn it all, he actually did that exact thing. He got great starts. And how about Cianciarulo? Certainly not pushing, certainly not taking chances, ailing a bit, shoulder weak, whatever it might have been. The first 10 laps of the main, his cruise pace was enough to build a gap over a snarling pack of riders in 4th on back. He wasn't quite up to the speed of Roczen and Sexton, but he was beating everybody else for 10 laps while hurt. The speed level, the speed limit for Sexton and Cianciarulo is crazy. We've certainly seen what Ferrandis is capable of doing, at least outdoors, and in the 250 class in Supercross, he was no slouch. That's what draws the attention. That's what draws us to those shiny new toys. And you feel like the breakthrough must be coming at some point, so you give them that extra attention, and you're like, could today be the day? And you tend to forget about Roczen, and shame on us. He's always good in the opener. Even by his own admission, he was sick. Said his December was a disaster. He didn't put the expectations high. He just can't help himself at the beginning of the season. He's still really good at riding a motorcycle, and he's still only 27 years old. He's still capable. We just probably undersold Roczen as a contender more than maybe we should. We'll see how it turns out throughout the long season. It is so fun, by the way, my last note, early in the year like this, where anything can happen. There was a lot of attention this week because footage leaked out of Malcolm Stewart yelling at Marvin Musquin, and poor Marv is almost always on the bad side of the fan comments, like almost always, dude. So he got raked over the coals pretty bad. He was the one that knocked Malcolm down. Now, in Marvin's opinion, there was room for Malcolm to get on the brakes and stop. The point is this: Mookie looked great in qualifying, great on the new motorcycle, great with the new trainer Eldon Baker, but Marvin was catching him, and Marvin was going to the inside to make a pass on him. Marvin is still really good. We're getting to these matchups that we'd never thought about. I never really thought about, Malcolm versus Marv. Who's better? Who's faster? How about this battle? We're getting all these generations colliding. And you really only get that at the beginning of the season. So that's what I'm pumped on. We have to always celebrate these early races where we have all these storylines all colliding. Literally in the case of Marv and Malcolm and a couple other riders out there you've probably heard. Round 2, everybody. It's gonna be a good one. We'll see if the kids break through the shiny new toys, or if old reliable, like my minivan, is able to do what it always does.